An article from the CBC says the Canadian economy bled 66,000 jobs in August as unemployment rate at its highest since pandemic days. One of the most common questions that people are asking is, how is the market? How is the real estate market? So let's dive into this article and let's talk about how the real estate market is affected by headlines such as this. So this article from the CBC, reputable news source, right? Better than others. So let's kind of dig into this and see what key points we can take from this. So obviously not a good headline, right? That the Canadian economy bled 66,000 jobs in August as the unemployment rate hit its highest level since pandemic days. So that's pretty scary. So let's read a little bit here and then let's do some analysis on what this article is talking about. So it says Canada's unemployment rate reached nearly its highest point since 2016 as the economy shed 66,000 jobs in August, according to new data from Statistics Canada. The unemployment rate rose 0.2 percentage points in August to 7.1%, a level last seen in May 2016. So that's pretty significant. The unemployment rate, or the number of people unemployed out of the total labor force, has been rising consistently this year, up from 6.6% in January. So it's no secret, right? When you talk to people, when you look at the economy, when you look at the real estate market, there's uncertainty with people all across the board, whether it's buyers, whether it's sellers. And this uncertainty is definitely linked to the uncertainty within the employment sector, within the job sector. Now, there's a chart here that kind of says it all for the visual people. So over here, we've got on this axis here, we've got the unemployment rate. And on this axis here, we've got basically, month by month. This is January 2023, January 2024, January 2025. And we can see as the unemployment rate has just been creeping up steadily since January 2023. So we're at about maybe 5.1% here in January 2023, all the way to 7.1% now. And this kind of shows September over here. So Statistics Canada says most of the job loss, some 60,000, were part-time ones, while there was little change in the number of full-time jobs. Most of the losses were also among workers between 25 to 50 to 54 years old, with little change in youth employment, according to Stats Can. Okay, let's kind of dissect that a little bit. So is that encouraging, or what does that really mean? Okay, so and as we tie it back into the real estate market, if the majority of job losses are coming from the part-time sector, is that good or bad or indifferent to the real estate market? I would say it's bad for the real estate market, because when we look at the average buyer, is the average buyer having a full-time job? Is the average buyer having a full-time job and a part-time job? Is the average buyer having a couple of part-time jobs? That data is not easily accessible, right? But what we do know is we're having a loss within the part-time sector, so that's not good. However, they're saying that the full-time jobs are not as affected. And then further to that, most of the losses were among workers between 25 to 54 years old. So that's not good, right? Because that would be an age range in which you would see people wanting to buy real estate, wanting to buy a first home. So it's not positive to see job losses within that sector. And again, it says that there was little change in youth employment, which is interesting. We'll touch on youth unemployment a little bit later on in the article. So over here it says, he points out that while youth unemployment also remained high in August, that age group had previously made up more of the drag on jobs, but now the losses in August were among the core age group in the workforce, which is, again, what we were talking about, and not a good thing when you see the 25 to 54 age group losing part-time jobs. So that's not a positive sign with regards to consumer confidence. That's not a positive sign with regards to like the real estate market as we look forward. Because if people have fewer jobs, they're not going to be confident or as confident in order to enter into the real estate market, because why would they if they don't have a job? They won't be able to get a mortgage. So let's see if there's anything else valuable here that we want to touch on in the article. I think that's basically it. Let's see before we finish things off here. No. So that's this was the final thing I wanted to talk about. So this is interesting. You always have to be careful of headlines, right? So youth unemployment holds steady. So that's kind of like, a subheading here. Okay, so let's read this further. There was little change to employment for people between the ages of 15 to 24 in August, with youth unemployment staying high at 14.5%. So 14.5% is very high, right, for youth unemployment. But yet the subheading says youth unemployment holds steady. We need a more accurate, subheading for that, because youth unemployment is high. So the long story short, when you look at a headline like this, and when you're looking at the real estate market, is it a good time to buy? How is the market? What's going on? We know unemployment rate in Canada is going up. It's not good. It's not trending in a positive direction, as we can see from this chart. So when it's not trending in a positive direction, people lack confidence and they become very, they freeze. They don't know what to do. And we're seeing this kind of happening with the market. Does this mean that the market has stopped and homes are not being purchased or sold? No, absolutely not. Homes are being purchased and sold every single day. It's just the buyers in the market right now are very clear on what they want to accomplish and what they want to achieve. We're working with buyers who have, mortgage pre-approvals done, and they're actively looking to purchase, right? And then, of course, we have conversations with people who are saying, okay, we're going to wait. We're going to wait until, early 2026. So the long story short, when you look at this, is that the trends for unemployment is not good. What is that going to do to the real estate market? Does that force Bank of Canada's hand to lower interest rates again? Many experts are saying that'll be the case. And further to that, when you look at historically, does Bank of Canada just reduce rates once? Historically, Bank of Canada always reduces rates multiple times. So we will more than likely have another rate reduction before the end of the year. Most definitely if the job numbers stay in a downward trend and not a positive trend, it's very, very likely that we'll see another rate reduction by the end of the year. So that's it for today. Hope you found this useful. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out anytime. See you in the next video.